Gentlemen, good morning and thank you very much for joining us here on the program this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Grand. Good to have you too. Now let's begin already. So I want to first of all take a let me test the temperature with the two of you on what you thought about the APC National Summit. First, Devoe, if you'd please go. Let's get your overall assessment of it.
I know when you were trying to tell me about this event, you said the political affairs in terms of elections 2027 is warming up. No, I need to wake Nigerians up. Political activities for 2027 elections is in full swing. And I'm happy that the APC, unlike before, has thrown the ball out there and they're playing offensive. Let us be clear about what is happening. These politicians are not sleeping. They have midnight meetings and they are literally setting the stage. I've always said it, and people should understand that politicians are like Nollywood actors. They're like theater people who are always setting the stage to put something forward to you. Your duty as a citizen is not to get swung about what is happening, because what they're simply doing is that they're ensuring that they perpetuate themselves in power. And a major question to be asked is it all about me? Is it all about you and me? Is it about my interest? Or is it about them? That's what's important. And unfortunately, the APC is consolidating on the political side, not so much on governance, not so much on the delivery of the dividends of democracy or the campaign promises that they made, but more so about the political structure, okay, of the party. And as you can see, with the gale of defections and more to come, and the current, inability of the opposition to be able to hold itself. And when I say hold itself, there's no one opposition party that's been able to put forward a stable stand. When I say stable stand, an opposition party is not just to counter the existing government. Remember, it's not just at the federal level, also at the state level. So if you have a PDP governor or a LP governor, it's expected that the opposition, meaning APC and the rest, counter them as to check them as to whether they're delivering on their services. We're not seeing any level of stability in their structure. And if they can't be stable in structure, what really do they have to bring to the table regarding 2027? Because you must first prove yourself within this timeline if you're going to be an alternative or a credible alternative for Nigerians come 2027. So I commend APC. I give them their flowers. They're setting the stage. I want to see more of the opposition set stage. I want to see more oppositions, whether the ones we know of or new ones to come, because this is the time. This second year into the third year is the time that you make the difference. If not, if you come out a year to the time, it's going to be too late.
All right. Let me come to you, Mr. Musa, and also get your own opinion on this, your perspective on this. The APC has now endorsed President Tinubu, along with the National Assembly, 22 governors, and of course the entirety of your party. Are you also for the president?
Of course. I'm not just, when you say if I'm for the president, I am for the president because I'm a member of the APC. As a party, I'm a card-carrying member of the APC. So I must throw my weight behind the president. And Edo, as you can see, Edo was first to launch as soon as possible in 2027 because looking at what he's doing, the way he has encouraged Edo, the federal roads, Obaseki said, cannot be repaired. Even state government cannot, contribute in putting repairs to it. Even at the APC summit meeting, you heard when David Umahi was, commending the governor and saying that my governor, Senator Monday Okpewolo, was one of the governors who took it upon himself to finance 23-kilometer road, federal road, with, our state allocation. So it's kudos for our party, for our party to endorse the president, right from the National Assembly down to the State Assembly and all to the local government level.
Right.
All the people you saw there, right, all party members from the world.
But why now, though? Why not now? That's a big question everyone's asking. barely 2 years into his administration and just barely 2 years away or more than 2 years away from 2027, why now endorsing him as a presidential candidate for the party? Shouldn't we give enough time to see the dividends of the renewed agenda initiative, or better yet, the fulfillment of all of the promises from his manifesto during his run for 2022-2023? Why now?
Yeah, my sister, why now is that when you wake up tomorrow morning, 2027 will be here. So it's, a roadmap. It's a roadmap, and the vision is clear. You can see what the president is doing. If you say you don't know what the president is doing, Devoe Okorie, the Minister for Works, highlighted how many roads that Nigerians, the federal government is undergoing in the whole country, about 33 roads. So you say that the president is not doing something in that sector. You look at the agricultural sector, you look at the environmental sector, all the ministers gave their blueprints on what they have done so far. So when you say why now, we have to showcase, okay, why now? Why now? You saw the other parties trying to go around, even going to the former president to align, to fight. So we will allow them, we will sleep and be looking at them to, go around the whole country, bringing people together, we fold our hands to look at them. We all also have to wake up, because it has, we are sitting now in the aim of affair. So no one will allow him to be taken away from office, knowing fully where you are doing better.
Well, Honorable Musa, many would argue that it is very distracting for the administration, not focusing on what needs to be done for the betterment of the people's lives. But I'll come back to that. I want to come to Devoe Okorie regarding certain proclamations that were made by the president during his speech at the summit. He made a couple of them, several actually. One of them was his reiteration that subsidy is gone and that it is being rechanneled to the people and that they are feeling the dividend, they're feeling the benefits of it. I would like to know if this is so. And there is the one where he said there is nothing wrong with a one-party system. Devoe, I don't know, do you agree that there is nothing wrong with a one-party system? Does this say democracy in any way? Your thoughts, please.
Question. The first part, in terms of whether Nigerians are reaping from the benefits of the two economic, or let's call it fiscal, policies that were instituted with the beginning of this administration in 2023, which is the removal of subsidy on especially PMS, and then also the harmonization of the black and official markets, okay? Also the subsidies on FX. We've always said it, and I need people to understand. Those two policies, the presidents, anybody that was there had no option, because the last administration tanked the economy by not addressing those issues, which were both leakage points for the country. However, what we expect is that there are almost like 10 steps that need to be taken. So it's not just to move the removal of subsidies. If you remove subsidies, obviously what has happened is that Nigerians are forced to pay more for goods and services, which has created a cost of living crisis, which is called hardship, which is called hunger, which many Nigerians, if our poverty level was at, remember, we're 200 million. If 150 million people fall into multidimensional poverty, imagine how many now are are struggling. That's leaving us to around 180, right? Now, what you have also is another high level of inequality, because you hear terms like the 1% or the 1% or the 5%, meaning a few people have all the money. So it's not as if some people have not gained. That is true. Secondly, even on the government level, with the removal of subsidy, saw the increase of revenue to states and the federal government. The question is, at the federal level, have we seen an improvement on various sectors in terms of social infrastructure, education, health, transportation, finance, infrastructure? At the state level, have your state governments been able to, how many of them are able to pay minimum wage, the new minimum wage? How many of them are able to bring about, that's at the state level, address the environmental issues, pool investment into the state, increase the employment generation, partner with the private sector? How many of them have delivered So I don't actually believe the federal or the state has actually taken further those initial steps that they took. Now, which is why we question how come already 2 years in, they're already looking at 2027. Have they finished the exam that they're already looking at saying that they've promoted themselves? Now, the second part of the question that you asked, one-party states. I don't think the president was advocating for one-party states. Literally, he was just saying, because the president is a Democrat, okay? He was literally just saying that it was one party that was actually driving the dividends of democracy in Nigeria. Now, as you can see, nobody's being held at gunpoint, okay? It's a constitutional democracy, so everybody's entitled to associate as he pleases. Now, the question is this: what is actually happening? Why are all the politicians moving in one direction? We know already that Nigerian politics, the gap between the political activities and civil reality, which is the life of the masses, is not together. There's a big gap. And the question is not so much of our politicians. I told you they're actors. They can take any action they like. They can posture, they can stage, they can create, as APC has always done, try to elevate the imaging, the optics. However, the hard reality of the lives that Nigerians face, not just within us, you and me here in Nigeria, even at the international level, people are not deceived. The economic indicators also show that we're not where we should be, okay? Now, the question is, why is the opposition, why is the opposition not able to get its act together? Now, let me break it down just slightly a bit.
Yeah, very quickly.
In the PDP, the only reason they're having problems is that the PDP could not follow their own rules. Hence the creation of Wike in the G5 moving away, right?
Yeah.
Hence the issue of the chairman being changed and also the national secretary. In the Labour Party, someone finished his tenure and has not been able to leave. Why are we showing ourselves that we can't get our acts together? And this is a problem, because it's not so much about the APC. When the APC represents a standard in opposition politics, when the PDP rode over this country and claimed that they would rule for 60 years, APC was at work, right? Creating a mirror as to, look, this is not the best, we can give you better. Whether they've delivered on that, it's up to Nigerians to judge. I don't think they have.
Right.
But the point is this: why is the opposition not learning from what was done in the past as to how to create a strong position against the ruling party?
I must say here that we did extend an invitation to one of the biggest opposition, and that is the PDP. And unfortunately, they couldn't make it because they're all preparing for their NEC, which is going to be happening this Tuesday, a national NEC. But let me come to you, Mr. Musa, and have you make a case for the APC, okay? The presidency have said, and I'm going to quote him here, "We are not a one-party state, but a one-party making a difference." So I have to ask you, please, for the sake of Nigerians who are displeasured, help us jog our memory and just state 2 accomplishments that would, affirm the statements that the president has made, that it's a party that is working. Juxtaposing it to the issues that Nigerians face.
If I want to align with Okorie very, very well, I thank him so much for his analysis, but you see that it is very clear that even positive change are difficult to accept, but it is also time to metamorphosize. I want to let you know that APC as a party is working. Everywhere in this country, the state governors are working. The presidency, the federal government is also working. And when the president says, oh, he didn't mean that APC is a one-party state, we need challenge. They should also challenge. The governors and the opposition should challenge in their various areas. You can see, like you said,
I think it's unfair to say that the governors or the opposition to challenge. Mr. I think it's unfair to say that. Don't you think so? Because when we look at the case of the Akwa Ibom State, the governor, after speculations for months now, the governor have now asked those that are appointed and elected under his cabinet in his administration to defect with him to the APC or risk being fired. So, doesn't that seem like coercion to you?
Of course. Sorry. Of course, I am an appointee of the governor of Edo State. When he's assuming he's moving to another party, you say I should stay in the other party because I love the party so much.
No, how about you stay but how about you stay for credibility and for, for capability and the fact that you are eligible and qualified for that role? Why does party loyalty have to be at the top of the list for you to keep a job or stay in your job?
If there is credibility in any way, Atiku would have been moving from one place to another. There is no credibility in this thing. Leave credibility. It's not about credibility. It is about the party that is working, that is moving the train of the country. For me, as an appointee of a government, you don't expect me to stay. I will say it is if I'm voted for. If I'm voted for, even when I'm voted for, because the 14 members of the Edo State House of Assembly were opposition of the other party or in a different camp, they were not allowed to be in the State House of Assembly. That is even the same party, not being together in the same camp. Because they had a different camp, those were for Adams, those were for the governor. In the same party, even before the governor left. So you are talking about credibility. They had that credibility, but they suffered for it. So there is nothing like credibility. Those are people that were voted for. So for me, when you talk about credibility in moving from here to here, okay, if they don't move with the governor will fire them.
No, I think you're mistaking what I'm saying. Mr. Musa, I think you're mistaken. And what I'm saying is that, given the case of Momoh of Akwa Ibom State, there are persons who were elected under a different party by the electorate, and that is the people of Akwa Ibom, and those who were appointed. Are you saying that because they refused to defect from the party that they were elected under or from whatever party that they came on from to another party, if they don't do that, they're going to be fired from their job, not because they are not qualified, or not because they are not eligible, not because they don't have the capability, but simply because they are not going to defect to your party? Does that not speak to something that is grossly incorrect about our society?
Undemocratic.
And our democracy.
My sister, I can take exception from that the governor cannot say somebody that is voted for should go with him or being fired. No, the governor knows the Constitution. He knows that once you are voted for, you are allowed to take your right to do whatever you want to do. It's a constitutional right to be in a party. The governor is not forcing those in the assembly to move with him. He's only talking to those he appointed, which of course they have to follow Mr. Governor.
All right, so we could dwell on this. We can dwell on this about party loyalty and eligibility for a role, and a role that if you appoint me to be a press secretary tomorrow, or I can use my education degree and become a special advisor on education, would you say that I am not capable of that job anymore because I have refused to defect from News Central to BBC? Inshallah. But moving away from that, I do have to ask you, again, to my earlier question, make a case for the APC, two accomplishments that can stamp them as a working party in the eyes of Nigerians.
Two accomplishments is one. I thank God that every of the presidential aspirants campaigned with subsidy removal, and the subsidy has been removed, and Nigerians are enjoying it. Though it's difficult, things are a little bit difficult for Nigerians, but it's helping Nigerians. Local governments now get more allocation to work for their people. State governments now get more allocation to work for their people, because the subsidy was actually in the few hands of Nigerians, few Nigerians. But now it has been removed. It has decentralized to everybody. We are now enjoying it, but it's going to take time. And that is one of them that Mr. President have done. And if you talk of all the other issues of infrastructure, you can see some of the infrastructure that the federal government are undergoing under the Ministry of Works and Housing, under the Ministry of Regional Development. So I think there are many that we can say here that will make us continue to, ask for this endorsement for Mr. President or ask to stay more in power. My only prayer for Mr. President is that God keep him fit and give him long life and for him to pilot the affairs of this country, because he's doing very well. To me, he's doing very well. He's and to Nigerians, I think he's doing very well.
Honorable Musa, hopefully I'll have time to ask one or two questions before the end of this session here, but I want to come to Okorie. Let's talk about the political plurality in Nigeria. Now, many have said whether it's the APC, the PDP, or the ABC, or whatever, that's the same thing. The president said that the APC is very welcome to anybody who wants to join in from whatever party. This means that you can bring in your baggage, you can bring in your bad habits, you can bring in whatever it is. It's still the same party at the end of the day, whether APC or PDP. The PRP actually told that this threatens Nigeria's political plurality. What do you think about this? How does this help democracy in any way where everyone is welcome and this party hopping continues?
The more we talk about the APC, I'm sorry to say, we're only promoting the All Progressive Congress. Every party is entitled to create its own structure. Remember in the last election, we're always speaking structure. This is what it's about. Judith, you asked a question about the forcing appointees to follow you. It's their own internal democracy. It's left to you to decide whether is that the type of government I want to be with? Is that the type of party I want to be with? If you realize that your political party, like the APC, does not have internal democracy, it's your choice. That's your franchise. Now, the politicians have a position to take. The electorate, us citizens, have our own, we are entitled to our own franchise likewise, to choose which party we believe is going to work in our best interest. Now, whilst the APC is playing its own game, setting its own stage, just like you see in the private sector, a few people come together and start a bank, or they start a cement company, or they start a small buka down the road. What are other political parties doing to either institute their own form of democracy, or what are they doing to show that actually they follow their own rules? What are they doing to show that they're not always fighting, that they actually have a plan, an agenda? You don't actually have to. Every political party must not run for presidency. Some political parties, depending on your structure, based on INEC rules, you can actually be set up just to win local government elections, okay? Which I even recommend. Start with the local government and prove that you actually have something for the people, right? That you can actually deliver democracy, fix the roads, build the schools, attract investments, work in partnership with other states, ensure that your people do not go hungry, raise the general welfare of the people living within your local government. You also have political parties that can play at regional level, okay? It's not by force that everybody plays at the federal level. And the point is, it's all about Nigerian citizens coming together, both local and diaspora, putting their interests forward, just like you see it happen abroad, having constant conversations with governance. I always let me borrow from the president again, Bola Ahmed Asiwaju. A town hall is different. I repeat myself, a town hall is different. That is the hallmark of democracy, governance and civil society, always in conversation. Every, maybe, let's say, with your local government chairman or with your governor, since the governors are always bullying the local government, I expect to see governors talking to their people in town halls, in all their local governments every 100 days, or let's say every quarter. I expect the president and his ministers, just like they're doing, to not only presenting their, how do we call it, performance, having a town hall. A town hall means you speak, I speak. I listen, you listen. That's how it works. But we're not seeing that. All we see is they set the exam sheets, they tell us the answers that are meant to be given, and we don't get to communicate. Don't forget, during the 2023 elections, these same politicians went around the whole country, visited every local government. What happened? They were engaging citizens. How come that ended? How come that stopped? How come we're not still having that committee eat agbado and what is the other one? Frying roasted plantain with us. That is democracy. So all I'm saying, I'm answering your question, Mazino, that this is what is not happening. So if you only do it at the time of election, it means you're playing me. It means you're deceiving me. So, but it's not for the politicians. It is for the citizens to hold these politicians who made these promises to account. You said A, B, and C. What have you done? This budget has been accrued, has been signed, has been passed into law. What has been delivered? The constituency projects that are tied to about how much was reported by a budget the other day, about 7 trillion? Yes, one by one. In my own location, what did you deliver? Where are the boreholes? Where are the dams that you have fixed? Where are the increased manpower by police? Till date, this is almost 2 years. State police has not been passed. Are you surprised you have insecurity going on in the country? I repeat myself finally. Till date, state policing has not been passed. That is what the extra budgets that the petroleum removal of subsidy gave was supposed to deliver. Till date, it has not been passed.
Devoe, first of all, thank you very much. Finally, so that's what the president meant. But let me come to Honorable Musa here. Honorable Musa, just before Devoe's entry here, you talked about the fact that the subsidy removal has helped with a lot of Nigerians. It's alleviated them, is what I think you were trying to say. Many would actually counter that and ask exactly how has it done so? If you say that the removal of petrol subsidy has helped the inflation rate, even if that's the direction that you want to go, and as the president claims that by the end of 2025, it's going to go down to 15%, coming from 34% from last year, many people argue that that is actually not feasible. So how exactly has it helped the masses where even the increase in salaries or minimum wage still can't buy a bag of rice, and everybody is still bending and groaning over the weight of the economy currently? How exactly has it helped the masses?
Well, I told you earlier that even Devoe Okorie said it, that the subsidy removal has actually helped the economy. Because you and I know that the subsidy removal, since the subsidy removal came on board, Nigerians, both state government, local governments, the allocation they used to get has gone up to a level that even local government can now tie roads, fix their maternity, fix their, schools, pay their schools, pay salaries up to date. But when this subsidy was not removed, it was in the hands of the few. And Nigerians were staffs of maybe schools, government agencies were suffering. But now the state can pay salary as at when due. So that has helped. Okay, you say it cannot buy a bag of rice. Everybody must not buy a bag of rice at home. I don't buy a bag of rice in my house, even as a member of government. In the little I can buy, I appropriate, I buy in my house. Everybody must not say, oh, because they pay you 75,000 minimum wage, you go and use it to buy a bag. But there are other things you do. So for me, when I mean...
What other things could I do with my 75,000 naira minimum wage that will help me feed a family of 3? Honorable Musa, please do assist me. If I can't buy a bag of rice, which is Nigeria's staple food, if you don't have anything, at least you have rice at home. What else? What alternative do I have that 75,000 naira minimum wage could pay or could get?
But I know it's not only rice you eat at home, my brother. Now it's not only everybody refer to rice.
It's everybody's fallback.
When you talk of wage, the minimum wage is just the 75,000 naira they will pay you. It is level. You get to a level where that 75,000 will metamorphose to 150,000. It's not just they pay you 75,000 naira as the salary. You must have a level. And so when people say 75,000, it's just an increase. It's just an increment that metamorphoses to the level that you are in government or agencies or office. So for me, forget about, we should just look at what the government is doing. The subsidy removal has really helped. You and I know. And it is not everybody that is enjoying it. But then those who even the farmers, they enjoy part of it because they grow all these things and they make money out of it. So for us, when you say it has really not helped Nigeria, or somebody is saying it has, or the opposition is saying that, it's not what we should, dwell on. We should dwell on the fact that the country is moving, things are fine, and it will be fine later on.
Don't you think it's hard to, to tell, the average Nigerian who is at level 1, and it looks like his future is almost bleak, the cost of living crisis is at an all-time high. It really just costs to exist. His one-bedroom apartment or his self-contained Oroshoki cost, or shows, as they call it, costs 1.5 million, and he still has to somewhat find some way, get through a 5 hustle with the job, and still have to, take public transportation and still send money back home to the family on 75,000 naira. And I think that's a conversation we like to discuss. We always bring to the fore when it comes to public scrutiny about how sometimes we seem to be very out of touch, when it comes to the average Nigerian and not us who is seated here. But I must come to you, Devoe, before we, close the curtain of the discussion. Devoe, do you feel the sense of foreboding that I do, right? This party has widened its broom and, swept more people into its house, As you keep sweeping all of this coming into this house, sooner or later, it's going to burst at the seams. Are we ready for that spill? And what would that spill look like for Nigeria's democracy in the next 4 years? Devoe.
60. There have always been different associations and movement of birds from one side to the other, okay? From the NCNC Action Congress to military governments, then we now had the SDP, NRC, then we now had the motley crew that formed the APC, PDP, SDP, COA party. It will always continue. Remember, every party will deliver its own internal democracy. I'm sure at some point in the line, because I know the APC's internal democracy is not as together as they're banding themselves right now, the explosion will come. But like I said, it's not so much for Nigerians to be watching, this sit-down-look mentality, just watching politicians play their game, because it's a game. What I expect Nigerian citizens to do is to, when I say hold them account, currently part of the out of touchness you see, the lack of sensitivity from the ruling class to the masses, is because there's no sense of urgency. They're not afraid of citizens. They're not afraid that maybe they will lose their positions, they can be recalled, or that their party will lose in the next election. They're not afraid of it. And that is a major problem that as a people, we're going to have to resolve. Politicians are meant to, civil servants, politicians, and the, what I call it, political parties, they're meant to serve you, not rule over you. It's a mentality that was passed on from the military that most times people, anytime they play their games, even if it's by rigging and getting into power, all we do is we sit, fold our hands and wait until the next elections, hoping that a difference will come. And have you noticed, administration to administration, it seems to be getting worse. So my plea, right, and it's a plea to Nigerians to shine their eye, to wake up in a season like this. If a political party at the federal level has not delivered on its promise and is already talking about 2027, you should be bothered. At the state level, if your politicians or the executives, the governor and his cabinet, are not able to deliver on those things that they told you during the election, that you should be making noise. Dissent is not a crime. You're entitled to speak up and to speak out. You're entitled to walk down to your local government. The doors must be open. That's why you pay taxes, so that they listen to you and push the budgets where you most need it. That is what a democracy is about. Because if we don't do these things, remember, it's not just about the politicians, it's also about the people. If the people don't play their own parts, then it's not a democracy. All we're running is, yes, that one-party state or the unitary system or even a dictatorship. It's a choice we have to make, and one person cannot do that by himself. We all must play our role at our individual communities. Most times what we see in this country, you see a pothole, on a road for 2 to 3 years, and in that community they start shouting that Tinubu has not fixed our road. No, if you pay tax, that's if you do, you should be calling your local government chairman. And if the local government chairman is not delivering, you should be at the house of your state governor, morning, day, and night. If you're not sleeping comfortably, they should not be sleeping comfortably. That's how this democracy works. When the leaders believe that the people are actually on their backs or on their neck, demanding for good governance, then they will give it.
Devoe Okorie, I want to say thank you very much. And also, Honorable Musa Momoh, thank you very much as well. It's been quite an interesting conversation here. I'd like to say thank you for giving us your Sunday mornings.